He was trying to do it to me, but it wasn't working. It was...
When you say it wasn't working, was it hurting?
Yes.
So,
All right, the objection is overruled as to that question, but counsel, please refrain from asking leading questions.
okay. How did your father react at that stage to things hurting you?
He was nice about it. He didn't want to hurt me.
So what would he do if something was hurting you? Would he continue to do it? Would he
No, he'd stop.
And did you ever use that wooden thing on yourself when he wasn't around?
No.
Did you know why he wanted you, did he say why he wanted you to use that thing?
Yes.
What did he tell you?
I don't remember exactly what he told me, but I knew why. It was so that I could practice on myself so that it wouldn't hurt anymore when he did.
Now, at some point, did your father stop being nice?
Yes.
Approximately how old were you?
I was 11 years old. It was just after I finished swimming.
What do you mean by finish swimming?
Swimming had ended. I ended swimming, and it was started after that point.
I don't understand what you mean by you ended swimming. Does that mean you...
Swimming had stopped. He had told me that I had to take a certain course in sports. I was either tennis, soccer, or swimming. I just didn't know. It was real confusing. He sat down with me, and he came over to me, and he said, "What sport do you want to play? You have to choose a sport." Because I was 11 years old, and he said I was becoming a man, and it was time to choose a sport. And so I said tennis. Later I found out that he didn't want me to choose tennis, that he wanted me... I blame myself. I thought maybe he wanted me to do swimming, but at the time I thought he wanted me to choose tennis because Lyle had gone into it.
Now, what was it, Mr. Menendez, that happened that made you think that your father was upset with you for having given up swimming?
He wasn't nice anymore during the sex.
You have to put the mic in.
He wasn't nice anymore during the sex.
Now, do you recall the first time that he wasn't nice during the sex?
Yes. Yes.
And you were 11?
I was 11.
The reason you're having trouble is it's not facing you. Face it.
I know. I need to use the restroom. I need a break.
Okay, we'll take a recess, and we'll resume at 3:30, or 2:30, I'm sorry, 2:30, ladies and gentlemen. Don't discuss the case with anyone or form any opinions about it. We'll resume at 2:30. So you may resume your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Menendez, this particular incident when you were 11, do you remember it?
Yes, very well.
How do you think about this incident in relation to things that happened both before and after?
It's one that just really stands out in my mind.
Is it one of the worst things that happened to you?
Yes.
And thinking about it, do you remember what was happening in the house? Anything you heard or saw before this incident actually began?
Yes.
What was it that was happening?
I heard some fighting with my parents downstairs.
Who was fighting with your parents?
My mom and my dad were fighting.
Between themselves?
Yes.
Was this a physical altercation or a verbal fight?
I didn't know if it was physical. I just heard the verbal. I just heard them yelling at each other.
Okay. And what happened after you heard them yelling at each other?
I heard my father coming up the stairs.
And what house are you in?
Pennington.
Okay. And what happened when your father got up the stairs?
He came toward my room. All I could think about was him coming toward my room and how I was hoping he wasn't going to do that.
Do what?
Come toward my room.
Why?
Because I didn't want him to come into my room when he was angry.
Even if he was angry at someone else?
Yes.
Did you think that it was going to be something sexual?
No, I didn't think it was going to be something sexual if he was angry at that time.
Okay, what did you think was going to happen if he was angry at that time?
I thought he was just going to take out the belt or hit me or throw me someplace. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Did you know what the topic of the argument was between your mother and father?
No.
Did you have any concerns about what it might have been?
Yeah, I was concerned that it might have been over me.
Had there been arguments in the past over you?
Yes.
And had any of those arguments in the past over you resulted in your father physically hurting you?
Yes, he would get angry with Mom, and they would yell back and forth, and then he'd come to my room and just hit me or whatever.